Here's a number that might surprise you. Only 12% of Americans ever manage to save $100,000 in their lifetime. Not invest it, just save it. The rest either spend it, owe it, or never earn it in a way that sticks. But here's the kicker. That first, 100K, it's not just a milestone. It's the make or break line between financial freedom and quiet financial failure. If you've ever wondered why some people explode into wealth while others stay stuck at zero, this number holds the answer. In today's video, we're unpacking a simple but life-changing question. What makes hitting 100K the turning point between financial freedom and financial failure? Because $100,000 isn't just a number. It's a tipping point that can transform your entire financial future. It's the first domino in a chain of wealth acceleration, or the invisible wall that keeps most people stuck for life. Once you understand how this milestone works, and what happens after you hit it, you'll never look at money the same way again. Whether you're investing, budgeting, or just trying to escape the paycheck-to-paycheck grind, this one number changes everything. So, hit that subscribe button if you're serious about building long-term wealth, and let's get into it. Let's kick things off with a truth that sounds obvious, but hits different when you really feel it. The first 100K is brutally hard, not because of math, but because of momentum. It's the moment where effort feels invisible. You work, you save, you invest. And yet, your money barely moves. A few thousand here, a market dip there. It feels like you're bailing out a leaky boat with a coffee mug. Why? Because compounding doesn't show up until it has something to work with. Until then, your discipline is operating on fumes. Charlie Munger famously said, "The first $100,000 is the hardest, but you gotta do it. I don't care what you have to do. If it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon." Why so blunt? Because 100K is the crossover point where capital starts to work for you. And most people never make it. Before 100K, every dollar feels like it comes from your time, your labor, your energy. But after 100K, something strange happens. Your money starts to whisper, "Hey, I've got this." And if you keep going, it eventually shouts. But the journey to that number is a psychological war zone. Because the rules of personal finance don't feel fair when you're at 6K in the bank, trying to survive inflation and stay sane. And that's exactly why this line, the 100K threshold, becomes either your financial escape velocity or your permanent trap. Now, let's talk about why most people never even get close to that $100,000 line. Is it because they don't make enough? Not always. Is it because they're not smart enough? Definitely not. It's because most people are playing a game they were never taught to win. And even worse, they don't realize they're leaking money every step of the way. It's called money misalignment. Here's the uncomfortable question. Are you using money as a tool or as a drug? Because if money is just a way to escape stress, prove something to others, or hit a dopamine spike with your next Amazon order, you're not managing your money. Your emotions are. And that emotional drain will always outpace your income if it's left unchecked. The truth? Most people don't fail because of low salaries. They fail because they don't build margin. And without margin, compounding doesn't stand a chance. There's a trap we fall into. The moment income rises, spending rises faster. New car, nicer apartment, more subscriptions. We call it progress. But it's really lifestyle inflation, and it quietly kills wealth before it even begins. And underneath it all is a scarcity mindset dressed up as comfort. I deserve this. You only live once. I'll start saving later. But later becomes never, and never becomes normal. As Robert Kiyosaki famously said, "It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep." And if your identity is tied to what you consume instead of what you build, then 100K will always feel out of reach, no matter how high your paycheck climbs. The biggest obstacle to wealth isn't Wall Street. It's the emotional decisions we make on Main Street, and until those habits change, compounding is just a fantasy. Moving forward, let's talk about the mental shift that only happens when you cross 6 figures, because this isn't just about math anymore, it's about identity. When your net worth crosses $100,000, something subtle but powerful changes. You no longer see yourself as just a worker. You start seeing yourself as a builder. You no longer ask, "Can I afford this?" You start asking, "Is this the best use of capital?" It's a shift from reaction to strategy, from consumer to capital allocator. Comment the word "more" if you've ever felt that shift, even a glimpse of it. That moment when your money starts to feel like a tool, not a leash. Because once you pass 100K, you stop craving temporary rewards. You start craving leverage. You realize money isn't just for buying things, it's for buying time, options, and peace of mind. You stop seeing savings as a sacrifice and start seeing it as power. And ironically, this is the point when compounding finally starts to feel real. Your 10K in the market used to grow $1 a day. Now your 100K grows $30 to $50 a day. Same effort, bigger base. That's the magic. And the confidence that comes with it, it's hard to describe. You walk differently. You think longer term. You stop reacting to economic noise because you have a buffer. You have room to breathe. This is why 100K is a psychological threshold. Because the person you become at that point, that's someone who scales, who stops playing defense and starts thinking like an investor. That's the moment money starts working harder than you ever could. All right, let's explore the millionaire math behind the 100K explosion. Let's now get into the numbers, because this part is too powerful to skip. If you have 10K invested and it grows by 10% in a year, you make $1,000. Not bad, but let's be honest. It doesn't change your life. It doesn't pay your rent. It doesn't buy you freedom. But when you hit 100K, that same 10% suddenly gives you $10,000 in gains, completely passively. That's money that didn't come from your labor, your hours, or your boss. It came from momentum. And what's even more powerful? That $10,000 gain adds to your base. So next year, your 110K grows at 10% again, and now you're at 121K, then 133K, then 146K. This is what people mean when they say compounding is slow until it's not. Because at some point, the curve bends upward. The effort flattens, but the results spike. And here's the part most people miss. This isn't just about investing. It applies to skill building, business income, and systems, too. Once you hit 100K, you've built a foundation. You've learned budgeting, discipline, patience, and risk management. And those skills, they compound, too. So while others are chasing shortcuts and shiny objects, you're stacking quiet power. And the more you reinvest, not just your money but your habits, the steeper your curve becomes. That's why 100K isn't just a milestone, it's a launch pad. Because the day your money starts generating real returns without your permission is the day you stop being stuck. Let me give you 2 real examples. Not from fantasy finance YouTube, but from real life. 2 people, same country, same economy, same basic income level, radically different outcomes. The first is Jasmine. She worked as a marketing assistant, earning $45K a year. No inheritance, no big windfalls. Just a woman with a spreadsheet, a plan, and a whole lot of discipline. She built a side hustle selling digital templates on Etsy. Her nights were spent learning Canva. Her weekends were filled with order fulfillment and SEO tweaks. For 4 years, she lived below her means and tracked every dollar like her life depended on it. When she hit 100K, she didn't blow it. She upgraded her strategy. That money went into a simple mix of index funds, a fractional real estate investment, and reinvesting in her business. Fast forward, she's financially independent at 39. She doesn't work for money anymore. She works on what lights her up. Now meet Marcus. Same starting salary. He's smart, charming, ambitious, but every bonus was spent before it landed. New phone, new shoes, new car lease, because he deserved it. He joked that budgeting was for broke people. 10 years later, his net worth is $9,000. Same income, different outcome. And here's the real lesson. Jasmine didn't get lucky. She got intentional. She used her early dollars to build leverage. Marcus used his to build validation. Jasmine made 100K the beginning of wealth. Marcus made it the end of desire. And that split, that decision point, is the difference between escaping the matrix and staying stuck in it. Now let's switch gears and discuss the real skills that get you to 100K. So what actually gets you to 100K? Not magic, not momentum, not manifesting. It's skill. It's structure, it's strategy. The people who cross that line and keep going all have one thing in common. They've mastered the boring stuff: budgeting, delay of gratification, expense tracking, investing consistently even when it's not sexy. You can't shortcut this part. Because 100K isn't the product of a lucky trade, it's the result of thousands of small, smart, repeatable decisions. Buying one less thing, saying no to status, saying yes to learning. As James Clear said, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And 100K is your systems test. Pass it and you build a base. Fail it and you restart the game every year. I'm working on a tool, something I wish I had when I was starting out. I call it the Trip to Wealth Command Center. It's a Google Sheets dashboard designed to track everything: net worth, investing growth, expenses, cash flow, and even compounding goals. But this isn't just a spreadsheet. It's a strategy hub, a place to make your money visual, measurable, and accountable. A digital map for your financial freedom journey. Because let's be honest, it's easy to lose focus when the progress feels invisible. But when you can see your monthly gap, your compound growth, and your timeline to 100K on one screen, everything shifts. If you're serious about building wealth, join the wait list. The link's below. Let's build something real together, not just talk about it. Because Trip to Wealth isn't about hype. It's about tools that move you forward. Now, let's talk about the fork in the road, the one no one warns you about. When you hit 100K, you're not done. You're at the edge of real momentum. But what happens next? That's where most people quietly fall off. Because 100K feels like success. It feels safe. It feels relaxing. You look at your account, and for the first time, you breathe a little. And that's where the trap begins. Some people take that deep breath and get complacent. They upgrade their lifestyle. They start spending like it's permanent. They think they've made it. But 100K is not financial freedom. It's financial leverage. It's a loaded spring that only works if you don't release the tension too early. The wealthy treat 100K as a launch pad, not a cushion. They reinvest it. They double down on income growth. They compound forward instead of cashing out. This is where character matters more than tactics. Because what you do with your first 100K reveals everything about how you'll handle your first million. If you use that milestone to build more freedom, you enter a new gear. But if you use it to validate old habits, you stall, you plateau, and you quietly fall back. So ask yourself, is your 100K the foundation of your empire? or the finish line of your effort. Because this fork in the road, it decides everything that happens next. Let's zoom out for a moment and really sit with what we've covered in this video. That idea that hitting 100K could be the key to either financial freedom or total failure isn't just a catchy title. It's a thesis, a dividing line between two very different lives. On one side, scarcity, stress, inconsistency, and financial fragility. On the other side, stability, options, acceleration, and control. $100,000 isn't about bragging rights. It's about identity transformation. It's about discipline turning into leverage. It's about finally reaching a point where you can breathe and then using that breath to build. Most people never get there because they're trapped in a loop of leaks, lifestyle inflation, emotional spending, and short-term thinking. But for those who do get there, everything starts to compound. Not just the money, but the mindset. Because after 100K, your focus shifts. You're not just surviving, you're strategizing. You're not just earning, you're optimizing. Your money no longer feels like sand slipping through your fingers. It feels like a foundation. But remember, 100K is just the ignition. If you stop there, it all stalls. The key is to scale the system. Reinvest your wins. Multiply your momentum. Use your habits to unlock the next chapter. And here's what I want you to take away. The difference between financial freedom and financial failure doesn't start at $1 million. It starts at 100K. That's the first real test of whether you're building wealth or just collecting paychecks. And now you know what to do about it. If you've hit that first 100K, or you're deep in the grind trying to get there, I want to hear your story. What changed for you? What obstacles nearly broke you? Drop a comment below and let's start a real conversation. And if you're ready to take your money tracking to the next level, don't forget to check out the early access link for the Trip to Wealth Command Center. It's the tool that will take your finances to the next level. Also, if you're just starting from scratch, I highly recommend watching this next video, the ultimate guide on how to create wealth from zero. It's the practical blueprint that ties everything we just talked about into a real plan. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to leave your comment below, especially if this video made you think differently. I appreciate your support more than you know. Until next time, stay consistent, stay patient, and stay winning. See you in the next one, Money Magician.